Alright, we are recording, continuing Titan Quest 2, and I just noticed something as I was preparing. I'm recording this on Halloween. This is also part 13. I did not realize that until just now, because I was getting rid of the part 12 files I still have sitting on some of the computers. I actually do have news things I can talk about. We hit that, and I do remember I want to finish exploring over here before heading over. Okay, I don't think I've gone in there yet either, so
Hey,
you do that too.
you made it to... I'm glad you made it 3 days. If you're heading out, thank you.
That guy's actually a little bit of a bug, because I know I've seen him be there and do that plenty of times. Alright, got 3 things in my notes. Yeah, let's start with that one. So one of the pieces of news I wrote up. Oh no. Okay, that's okay. Yeah, that's for later. So it's still I still need to go in this general way. Yeah, I saw one thing. It's like, oh, are we actually starting to do this right? We'll do this how we had been doing it. I saw the one things I wrote up was Warhammer 40k Boltgun 2 is coming, and they announced a new playable character. Crap, what are they called? Sisters of War? Sisters of Battle? So there's going to be a female protagonist option, and there's already a male one. And one of the things that was pointed out in the press release was that though she doesn't have the... Crap, how did they call it? Doesn't have as good of armor as a Space Marine, and the male that you would play as, I don't remember their names, is an Ultramarine, so I assume that's a kind of Space Marine. That though she doesn't have the armor on the level that he has, what she does have is speed, so she's going to be more agile. And seeing that, I'm just like, good. Because, I mean, it's just the whole, we have to have more female protagonists. It's like, we've had plenty of games where there are female protagonists, and that's exactly how they differentiate. That the male would typically be a little slower, but heavier, harder hitting. Not always in that. And the female would be lighter, would be faster, more agile. And I like that, because I like the more agile gameplay. They've talked about that in at least some stuff before with Assassin's Creed Syndicate, because you could play as, I think their names were James and Evie, and I preferred playing as Evie because she was more, I mean, true, that was also about stealth, not just agility, but that's my preferred playstyle. And I don't even think it was like her stats were different, it was just her abilities. Yeah, it was also one of those funny things because people were like, oh, isn't this wonderful with Assassin's Creed Odyssey, we could finally play as a woman? It's like, you could in Syndicate as well. I mean, granted, it's not the strongest of the games, but still, it's like, we've actually had that for years. But there's also part of the reason I'll mention this, and this is years ago, I went through a rant in something else, that in a lot of games, and I think a lot of people don't realize this, and I think also some are willfully ignoring it. Those that push it, oh, we have to have equal representation, is that in a lot of video games, the main character could be a rock and it wouldn't make a difference. I was like, this would be one. This actually would be one. So would the original Titan Quest. There is nothing is based on the gender of the character at all. I mean, this character is completely a neuter character. Is neither male nor female. I mean, yes, physically is male when we look, there or, sorry, here, yeah. But it does not impact the game at all. It is purely and exclusively a visual thing. Which does also mean it doesn't matter, there are the options here or not. But it's just, there's a lot of games where that is true. And it's funny when sometimes it seems like people just ignore that. And they're like, oh, well, this game doesn't have, female protagonists. I want to have female protagonists. It doesn't need one. It doesn't matter. That was... One of the times I went through that... Well, the time I went through that rant was... I think it was Deus Ex Mankind... No, Human Revolution. The first one. Not the first one, but of the remakes with Adam Jensen. Because in my opinion, Deus Ex would actually be a very interesting franchise to have a feminine main character. But let me be clear. Feminine. Not just female. Because it's like, yeah, like in this, it can be female, but that doesn't mean that it's feminine. It can still be completely nude. It can still be a rock. But Deus Ex, I think, would be a very interesting one to, because you could start exploring femininity, especially with the cybernetic aspects of it, and what could that mean? How could that impact things? Like if she lost her hands and so couldn't feel anymore. It's like I could see that for some women hitting very, very hard. Also some men, but like the idea of, because the hypothetical story I built out in my mind for it would be for that hypothetical Deus Ex game with female protagonist would be something like if she were still a young wife, they wanted to have kids, and she's lost her arms, and so just that thinking of not being able to hold her child in her own hands kind of thing, that would be very interesting to explore and to progress this character through that experience, through that feeling. It's like, if done tastefully, of course, if done well. But I mean, it's a hypothetical. Why would I think it done poorly? But yeah, I mean, it's just. So you could do that. So seeing at least this like lowest level of the dimorphism of the sexes in humans, it's nice to see that. But it's there's still more we can do. But it's just it's gotta make sense. Stop making them just rocks. If you're gonna say that it matters having protagonists, having playable characters of both sexes, make sure that they're not rocks. The other two things I got is one thing that I saw actually just this morning. Concerning AMD and also the whole Microsoft with Halo coming to PlayStation. I'm not sure which I would necessarily want to get to first. I feel like I might rant more on the Microsoft one, so I'll leave that for a second. Yeah, the AMD thing that I saw is, at least supposedly, AMD is going to cease doing day one game optimizations for RDNA 1 and 2. So that just means the RX 7000 and 9000 series will be getting day one game optimizations. And it was funny because I was seeing people complain about this. I'm just like, this is actually really unimportant. I'm sorry, a lot of people do not understand that those optimizations aren't actually that much. I was like, if a driver optimization is getting you that much performance, is going to have that big an impact, that just means that the base game was very badly done. And it shouldn't be on AMD, on NVIDIA, or on Intel to fix it. Okay?
Welcome! Make yourself at home.
He shouldn't be talking like this yet, and that will make sense in a little bit. My complaint there will make sense in a little bit. Yes. Yeah, I'm not specking out for cold. Don't find all that interesting.
Needs something.
Yeah, notice his name. Notice his name. I'm also gonna go over and. Oh wait, no. I just noticed how close I am to leveling up. And I do want to reset the levels. Just hoping that'll happen Sumina. Come on, I just need a little bit more, a little bit more. Yeah, I mean, is the performance in this a little bit better since I've updated the drivers for it? Yeah, on the laptop? Yes. Mainly a little bit less stuttering. I don't think that the performance itself is necessarily improved. But it's also, I was using drivers that were like a year old. So that's not, that can just be, that the drivers themselves matured some. And even then, the difference is not that great, I think. I'm sorry, it's just, this is one way. It's like, no, I was very much going without day one game options. Well, of course, I'm not even sure this game got such optimizations, but still, it's... I've even reviewed games where I didn't update the drivers. And I do remember one time... Good. It was Splinter Cell Blacklist. I'm trying to remember, was that... I'm trying to remember if that was with the beta driver. No. Okay, yeah. I think it was when I first played it, I was using the last non-beta drivers. It was NVIDIA drivers. It was on NVIDIA at the time. I was playing it with those. And it would crash. So then I went to beta drivers. It didn't crash, but it had a horrible visual appearance. Like, it completely broke things.
How grand.
Nope, that bonus to lightning and spell damage is huge. And also everything there is a bit too low level. She just wants the crab shells, but there's more to get over here. Yeah. So I'm just gonna wait. There. But yeah, so I mean, it's like, don't get me wrong, I do get the whole, no one likes the idea of their hardware not getting the latest and greatest as fast as possible, but it still is the whole latest and greatest here is not that important. And in some ways, there's also that benefit then of the whole, yeah, you'll be getting it when the driver is actually finished. Not just we've put this in there, hopefully there aren't any significant bugs along the way. But I will also grant, it does seem odd to me that I can understand with RDNA 4, so that's the RX 9000 series. I can understand that being significantly different from the others, because I'm pretty sure they did make a lot of changes. I wouldn't have thought that would have... So I'm a little unsure about why it's 3 and 4 that are going to get them, aside from just they are the newest ones. But it still is, like I said, it's not nearly as big a deal as some would think. And there's also that element of, generally speaking, unless an update does specifically solve a problem you're having, a lot of times it's not worth update. I mean, it's like technically I am, the BIOS on my Framework 16 here is out of date, and I know it. And I just wanna... Yeah, I think that actually is. That's one. Yep. There's also now I gotta kill all these guys.
That horse toy. It belongs to my son, Callias, when the Ichthians attacked. He gave it to me. For good luck in battle, will you return it to him? Man. Has it been that long? Please. Return the toy to him. And...
Yeah, so that is that gruff, bald-headed or shaved-headed trader back there. And that's why sometimes he'll talk and he how would I describe that voice? Not necessarily sobbing, but approaching that, just very emotional. That's why. Because it's playing the wrong audio. But anyway, yeah, so I know the BIOS is actually out of date. The thing it would solve,
it'll be ready soon.
if I were to update, would be the there is a, and I have encountered this twice. It comes up that infrequently for me. Yeah, no, I mean that stuff is just more impactful. Although, what is that?
Look through the blades.
Nope, this is a hell of a lot better. Alright, I have both a 2TB 2280 and a 1TB 2030 M.2 SSD in here. So I've got 2 storage drives. There is a bug in the original BIOS for the Framework 16 that it is possible when returning from sleep for one to be... I just realized I never applied the mastery points. For the second drive, the 2230, to not be seen. It's solved by just restarting the computer, which isn't always ideal, but that's all you gotta do. It has happened for me twice. Now, I tend not to put the laptop to sleep. Like, during the week, I shut it off each night, turn it back on in the morning. It's just the weekend that I'll have it asleep. But it's still twice, and it's just a restart. That's all it takes to fix it. So it's not that big a deal. I don't feel it's worth messing with the BIOS. I know it's easy enough to do that, but it's still, BIOS is one of those things where, it's kind of foundational. If it's working, don't feel the need to do it. And it's like, yeah, there's one bug that can happen, but only twice. I don't care. Okay?
Need something magical to help you out there? What? My father? His shade? What did he say? My horse? I don't... Oh, God's father. Did he say anything else? He did. Oh, I've waited so long to see him again. Thank you. I don't know what to say. Thank you so much.
And that's it. Which is kind of disappointing in a way, but I get it. It's not like you get a discount with him or anything like that. It's just, this is it. There. Ooh, nice. And I think, yeah, let's... Okay. I'm trying to remember what all I do. Alright, let's do that. But, yeah, this is actually a pretty neat ability. There, back. Yeah, those all maxed out. So it really is, well, Really just those two. Since I don't use chill on anything. Yep. Let's go with that. Well... yeah. I was just thinking maybe in doing a point in each, but no, this'll be fine. Okay, yeah, it'll be best to just warp up here. Work my way back down. So yeah, the other thing, last thing I gotta talk about is Microsoft's decision to allow, apparently they're doing another Halo remaster, and we'll allow that to release onto PlayStation. And people are declaring this is the end of the console wars and blah 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 blah. And you know, don't get me wrong, I get the joke, I get the meme there and all that. But it's also that would have been nice. I think it's being exaggerated. Just, I don't think this is necessarily a Microsoft is going to drop Xbox. I know that there have been reasons to suspect that will happen. But just, and I also do understand the significance of Halo for Xbox, but I mean, there's been a lot of things that are already, they had been exclusives that are available on, it's like God of War from PlayStation, but you know, for whatever reasons, the whole PC isn't considered a competition to console, whatever. But it's just, I feel this might be a step down that path of the console war ending, but I feel no reason to believe at this stage that Microsoft is going to abandon Xbox. Also, granted, I'm not following it too closely, so if they've already said they're doing that, then okay. I think it's more so just, the games industry is in a bad place at the moment. Sadly. There's just a lot of games that cost way too much money and in no way made that money back. And so are failures. It's so funny seeing the wake behind me like that. And Microsoft is absolutely one of the companies that has been suffering from that. And not just they're putting out bad... No, I'm not saying that. That is there, but it's also more so the whole... they spent a lot of money buying up studios and publishers. And they need to make money. Like, they need to somehow make that money back. And I think that they're realizing that, crap, we're not making that money back. And Halo is a title, it's a franchise that should prove successful. They might screw it up. And so it's like, oh, there's this whole audience that we can get. It's probably not going to work that way. PlayStation would have already had competitors to Halo. So people that are PlayStation fans are going to be like, oh, okay. I'll just keep playing the thing that was my Halo-beating game. I don't think it's gonna move the needle as much as some may think for sales. But I can definitely understand how there would be people thinking, oh, at Microsoft, oh, this is such a good idea because this game sells so well. If we put it here, it'll sell more. It's like, I don't think that's how that'll work. And plus, something that people can forget about, especially people who don't understand and are just... Hang on. Sorry, I really needed to cough right there. Oh, yeah, let's do that. So this isn't a clear use of what this does. You did see, however, how it popped and like struck some of the nearby enemies with lightning. But it will also, with time, well, with additional points in it, I should say, I can increase the chance of critical hits, increase speed. That's something else. Increase the chance of ailments. So yeah, I mean, it is basically just a buff, which makes sense for why it's called a blessing. But yeah, it's actually kind of a neat ability. But it's also that initial pop of just doing damage can actually be really nice. And if you spec this and that also, but definitely with this, you can actually keep it up for quite a long time. Yeah. But anyway, what I was saying was platform matters as well, which is when you, and this is something I can see many people forgetting, when you purchase, that's possibly worth it. When you purchase an Xbox or a PlayStation, also, a platform, so you have access to all that stuff there. By putting your stuff on multiple platforms, well, I shouldn't approach it that way. I'm trying to explain this. Once somebody buys an Xbox or PlayStation, they can then be bombarded by Microsoft and Sony to purchase more things on that platform. This is part of the reason why you want to have platform exclusives, because those are things that entice people to come, and now things that are available on both, it's well, yeah, I'll buy it on this, because, oh, you're suggesting I should buy it, and that I should like it. Okay, yes, I do like that. Just trying to think, would that be a good example? It's like back in the good old days, when you had the Indie Arcade, was that the name of it on Xbox? I am going through this backwards. Okay. So I'm used to entering this cave through a different entrance. But anyway, but like World of Goo, I want to say was one game that was one of those. Because I mean, there was like an era that there were just tons of actually pretty good indie games that the indie devs could put onto. It was Xbox 360. That's how long ago it was. But they could put them out there, and you got a lot of good ones out of that. And it was sort of a golden era type thing. Golden era type situation. Because you had people with the creativity, with the skill, that now had the ability to get their stuff out there. It's like, that's something that, yes, you buy Halo on there. You what's another Microsoft exclusive? I'm sorry, but you buy it there, and then it's like, oh, you see this, that looks interesting, so you spend it there, and then Microsoft gets part of the cut because it's on their platform. Or if nothing else, it still is it would be some of that, but it would be, hey, I can, somebody who really likes it can then tell their friends about it, which will get, nope, that cooldown is too nice. And it's like that can help support other people to then purchase the game. Well, to purchase the platform so they can purchase the games and know that they can play together. Things like that. There is a reason for platform exclusives besides just, oh, well, if they want to play, they have to play here. No, it's also so that they are locked into, well, not necessarily locked into, because you can always buy both, but that's what you see then. Okay, so just trying to think how, yeah, that does work. So it's like I have a Roku, and I've got a Amazon Fire Stick, though I haven't used that for quite a while, plugged into my television, right? And predominantly I use the Roku. That's because I can't update Jellyfin on my server. It's an old version, and they decided, the maintainers of the Jellyfin app for the Fire Stick decided, we're going to compel a newer version of the server. So it's like, well, I can't use that anymore, so I predominantly use the Roku version. Well, so that's essentially, for me, not for everyone, not for most people, platform exclusive, right? So I now see Roku stuff. Now, I don't necessarily spend... I'm not necessarily going to purchase anything, and I've already got an actual aversion to subscriptions, but it still is... as far as what's offering free, I'll look through it on the Roku. And they run ads and such, and hey, I've got no problem with ads. I'll watch them. Make you as much money as you can off of me in that way. I'm okay with that. I mean, so long as the ads, are not inappropriately placed. And maybe some of that stuff is also available on Amazon, but I'm already on the Roku. So that's where I'm looking. That's part of the platform exclusive stuff. There is also this is where somebody chooses to spend their time, so this is also where somebody, even for stuff that's available on both, they will choose that. That's also why you want to have a good UI, good interactivity, things like that. So, I can believe, though, that there are people at Microsoft that don't understand that. It's one of those things, like how you see, and I even saw somebody, I don't remember where it was, mentioning this, that a lot of companies, when they went public, that's when you started seeing the downturn. And that it makes, sadly, sense, because when a company goes public, then that means people can buy in just because they have money. Not because they understand the company, not because they understand the customers, just because they got the money. So for example, you see banks as on the board making decisions for things like Microsoft, but also like Hollywood. They don't. These are bank executives. They don't know what makes a good movie. They don't know what makes a studio run well. Right? They don't have the experience, the mindsets for that. Okay, and that's just how that is. But it's a public company, so they can get in there. Back up here. Again, it's just, and I also remember when Newegg went public. It seemed like that was a good thing. Shipping got worse. And that would be one of those things where it's like, oh, well, we can save money if we, do this differently. It's like, yeah, but the quality of the service went down. But yeah, it's just, I could believe that the people at Microsoft, they're not thinking about that. But still, I do not inherently believe that this is the death of, that this is the end of the console wars. I think it's just the industry is in a weak position. Microsoft put themselves in a weak position because of the whole buying up so many studios. And this is what they can do. Yeah, I think that actually is worth it. This is something they can do to, on paper, make money, but long term, it's not going to turn things in the way that they may want and need them to. So I'm not reading into it too much.
You have gold!
I have so much gold. I really don't care. Come here. Look at that.
More gold?
Yeah, so it's like you just pay and they throw things out. Some of it is trash, but that. But I think, yeah, I mean, I did get that stuff. I'll do it one more time. But I think at this point, yeah, I'm just getting garbage. Yeah, and it is also funny though. I think at least one person pointed out the whole, why are we talking about the consoles being done when there's still Nintendo? But yeah, I mean, it's, what likely needs to happen is Microsoft, in order for this to not be at least the start of the end of the console wars, is Microsoft, they need to contract. I'm sorry, but that is reality. A lot of companies today, they are bloated. And they are suffering for that. I'm gonna hit the waypoint up here. And this might just be a symptom of that, where instead of trying to actually cut down on the bloat, They're instead just trying to bring in more money so the bloat can endure. Hopefully that to a degree fails. Because bloat isn't good. You shouldn't try to be supporting the bloat. It also reminds me, I saw something, the supposed death of YouTube. I really doubt it. And I'll talk a little bit more about that in a moment. But yeah, it's just Microsoft, what they would need to do, I think, would be to, yes, let Xbox rest for a little bit longer. You still do come up with a new Xbox, still work on that. Try to make it more, I know it already is hardware-wise a specialized PC, but try to have it be a little bit more of that, just as far as being able to, like, stream games as well, where it's like, you know, somebody can have this be, okay, a lot of people today seem to just do laptops. They don't necessarily keep desktops anymore, right? But Microsoft is in the position that what they could do is decide, okay, you like your laptops, we got you. We got you there. So what we're going to do is we are going to... I thought that there was... I'm not going to pick it up. It's not that great. But what they could decide to do is, okay, you got your laptops, that's great. We're going to make this thing that it predominantly is connected into your television, but it also is on your network. We will allow you to stream any game on that system to your laptop, because it's, you know, when it's also on your network. Maybe set something up so it can stream over the over the internet, but definitely to the laptop, right? So now, basically, anywhere in your house, on your favorite machine...
Will you keep an eye out for him? Thank you.
I actually know exactly where he is. I'm probably going to get there. He's nearby. Yeah, because I mean, you do that, and it's also, you might be able to leverage, put in an ATSC 2? I don't remember what the name of it is. The issue is the DRM at the moment, but the next standard for broadcast video is coming. It's actually, a lot of it has already been figured out. It does have the issue of it isn't they haven't figured out the DRM standard yet, so there is basically no tuner and no television that could be made that you know it will work in the future. Because all it would take is a channel decides, we're going to turn on the DRM, and then you might lose the ability to watch that channel. It's a lousy situation, but despite that, the FCC is still trying to push it through. It's all because there are people pushing. It's all kinds of screwed up. But anyway, one thing about it is it's going to be more more internet protocol based. Okay, in that you would actually be able to have. You can already buy these tuners. They don't have the DRM, but what you can do with them is you can plug it in to the antenna, but then you can also plug it into your network. And your network, every device on the network then, assuming it has something for reading this, for connecting to it, you'll be able to watch television on. So you'd be able to have, essentially you can stream the live television to any computer, any mobile device on your network. You put that into the next Xbox. You include game streaming. And now it's basically a games server that is in your home, that's Xbox, and you'll be able to access it on, well, any Windows computer, of course, not Mac. But still, I'm just like, that would actually be something that would probably be well received. And that would be something that a lot of people would probably like as well, because you set up there, plug it and leave it kind of thing. Plug it in and leave it. And when you want to use when you want the big screen experience, you got it. It's already connected to your television. If you want to keep with your smaller screen experience on your laptop or maybe on a tablet or even phone, you got that too, because as long as you're on your network, it's there. And you could do some stuff there, and I could see that actually being something a lot of people would enjoy. Because how it would give you that flexibility. Okay. Hang on. No. Where is it? Okay, it might not be appearing yet. Because I haven't found the person it's relevant to, I guess is the way to put it, for the engineer. But yeah, I mean, you could do you could do that. The funny thing is it would be more so the Xbox One, because they wanted that to be the one device to rule them all, hence the name. And the funny thing, on the one hand, it was kind of silly, but on the other hand, that is exactly what ended up happening. Like, even people that were pissy about the whole, and yes, it was stupid how they were like, gonna force the always online DRM stuff. It was like, but what if somebody doesn't have an internet connection? It's not reliable. And then it's like, well, they can just play 360, which for a time that is true, because it takes a while before you finally get no game. The games are not also coming out in the previous generation. But it was still a dumb thing to say. But they were pushing for, basically all digital experience. What do we have now? All digital experiences. Like, for a lot of people, that's exactly what it is. And even if you do get the disc, my understanding is that for some people, it's the disc is basically just verifying that you bought it, and then it's still just gonna download it from online. Okay. I don't like this one, because okay, it is like you just need to get the right ones going, but there's no indication. You just need to randomly do it. But yeah, it's the desire for a one device kind of thing is real, and it has been realized, as it said, because you don't even need to worry about physical media for some of the stuff. You can just, oh yeah, that's right, I did level up, didn't I? Alright, give me that. So yeah, you could do it. You can definitely do a new Xbox today and apply some of the stuff that you tried before and it didn't work because basically they were ahead of their time. As sad as that is to say, they were ahead of their time. I mean, it's also, remember, one thing that they wanted to do, and again, I get what the original design was, overly robust for the requirements that they felt were necessary. But the whole, because the game would be tied to your system and to your account, in order to share a game with somebody, you would have to, send them a code kind of thing. And then, verify, log, all that. And it's like, yeah, that was over the top. What all they were asking for. And then, what did Sony do? They cut an ad, that day. That was just, if you want to share a game, what do? You just hand them the game. Because they didn't have that DRM. But it's game sharing for digital copies is something people are interested in. So figuring out how to do that better than what Microsoft originally described. Yeah, and it's just, but it's still, people want that, and I think that there is some amount of that today. I don't know, because I know we've got library sharing, in fact, on Steam. But no one bats an eye at, the security requirements there, in part because, you need to have a Steam account, and you need to know each other, and you need to connect that, hey, you're family. And it's if Microsoft had described that, well, probably at the time people would still have been pissed off about it. But it's that's people would have liked that. So, and even then, there's some stuff with the family sharing that is annoying with Steam, because not. If I remember correctly, and I've not really had to do it, but it's not just like, oh, well, that game you don't have access to while the family member's playing it. That's fine. I get that. But it's like, oh, you can't even, like, play a different game, if I remember correctly. At least some of that is, you're not able to play a different game in your library just because somebody is playing a game from your library. It's, yeah. Not ideal, that, but yeah, so I do think that they could, Microsoft could keep going, but they need to cut out the bloat. Oh, and that's right, that's what, I knew there was also something else that I was thinking about to talk about. There we go. I'm a little tired. I love how that enemy, that crab there, spawned dead because this attack was going back and hitting him. Okay, and also I was wrong. Oh, no. Where is it? I remember him being like down here. Keep going for a little bit longer. Yeah, I know where the engineer is. Ish. I just thought that I hit him earlier, that he was further south. And I know I'm just clearing out the map at this point. I know I'm not going to where he is. But yeah, it's... If Microsoft, and this is technically true of Sony as well, but I believe that Sony is sufficiently diversified at the moment that they're not under pressure for this. But Microsoft needs to stop having the people, the ones who make the decisions, being the ones who don't understand the products, don't understand the customers. It needs to be the people who do that.
Carrying too much.
And I'm not entirely sure how you can guarantee that. I fully have to acknowledge that, because people may start as the ones you would trust to make those decisions and then cease to be over time. It does happen. So, yeah, it's not like I can say, oh, yeah, this person were in charge. I got nothing like that. Can't say if this person were in charge, it would be better. But, no, with the bloat stuff, I'd seen a thing that do not doubt is being exaggerated. Because like one person... So I was trying to claim that, oh, this is the death of YouTube. Sure thing. There we go. Because apparently they are offering optional buyouts. And they are going to restructure, I think it is down. I'm looking for, but this terminates quickly, so I'm gonna clear it out. I don't think I have enough time to do the engineer thing.
Carrying too much.
But yeah, that apparently they are going to... Wait, that's not the right one. But optional buyouts. So, if... Basically, hey, if you want to leave, we will pay you to do so. They apparently did say, though, that they are not ending... Okay. They're not removing positions. That, it's not like they are shrinking. It's just a, hey, if you want to go somewhere else, or you just would like to take the money and run, here you go. But they were also restructuring to, son of a bitch, that's into 3, and I don't remember what all the sections were, into 3 parts. It's like, one is going to be handling the YouTube premium subscription kind of stuff. One's going to be creator, community, and AI, and then I don't remember what the third is. Like people being like, oh, the death of YouTube. I don't think so. I mean, YouTube will die only if they do a couple things. One is require you be logged in all the time, which I know a lot of people are just logged in all the time, but there's also plenty of us who aren't. It's like, I like the fact that YouTube doesn't get to build up an algorithm on me. Because I'm basically never logged in. I'm logged in if I'm there to handle something on my account. Otherwise, I'm logged out. And I also use private tabs. Because it's like, I will just look at whatever seems interesting. I don't try to suggest to me other things. I'm saying, if you want to suggest something that's similar to the video I'm currently watching, that's fine. I'll take that, and maybe I'll look at it, maybe I won't. See, this at least is you just need to return them to how they were. But the other one, to get the golden skull, it's like, wait, what? Why would I think to do this? Because, I mean, maybe it's just because the enemy's there that it shows it, but too briefly. Anyhow. Yeah, if they would have forced everyone to be logged in, so, like, that's one thing that Musk did with Twitter that I think has probably hurt it, is that in order to view generally, you need to be logged in. You come out through this door. It's not an entrance. It's an exit. So yeah, if they enforced that on YouTube, I think that would hurt. That would hurt them. But also, if they stopped the ability for people to just put up and share, and that's part of the reason why they can't really they can't make it where you need an account. Because yes, there are people obviously need an account to put something on there. That's fine. Okay. This guy ties into how to rescue the engineer. I'm not going to deal with that at the moment. Don't have the time. I'm just looking for... I think there is... I hope I'm not incorrect here. But I think there is a checkpoint, a waypoint not far. I want to find that. So yeah, if they were to start restricting the ability to upload and share stuff, and to have it be able to share broadly where no, somebody doesn't need to be logged in to see it. Yeah, but I mean, it is also... their algorithm, their view counting, I knew it was around here, is very... Hang on. Is that... No, actually, I will do that, because then I can turn in all the crab shells. It's like, that has been... I think I've said it previously on this, that I do think that some of... because they've made changes to when something does and doesn't count as a view. I think that's, in part, they are trying to force people to use their analytics, because they know what the actual analytics are of just, oh yeah, how many views does this get? Oh, got that many? Okay, well then we can offer this. But if it's a situation where a creator is no longer getting the large number of views they had gotten before because, well, actually they're getting the same number of views, it's more that YouTube just isn't reporting that, then when a company is like, hey, we want to sponsor you, oh, you only get this many views, well, I guess we won't do that, we won't pay you as much, so you become more dependent on what YouTube and Google is offering. I legitimately do believe that is part of what's going on there. Which, if that could be proven, like if my conspiracy theory, and I fully acknowledge that's what it is, were accurate, that actually would be illegal, because that kind of monopolistic practice would be something that a judge would have to be like, yeah, no, you can't try to stifle competition like that. Especially with why, I guess, just trying to think of the best way to put it. View count information is something that should belong to the viewer. It shouldn't be like, oh, well, we're processing all this for you and we get to count what is and is not. It's like, no, that's actually not just your decision. And especially because it would impact people's livelihoods. You shouldn't do that either. Shouldn't do that reason either, but yeah, so that I could see being the case. But yeah, I think that they may have realized, and this is why they're doing the optional buyouts, they may have realized we are horrendously bloated. We need to cut this out because they're probably not making as much money as they want to. And it's legitimately, when your profits aren't where you want it to be, you do one of two things. You either increase revenue. That's what Microsoft is trying to do with at least in my opinion, they're trying to increase revenue by saying, hey, we're just going to put something out there that will make us money. But it's not because it's good. It's not because it will work in long term that it will improve their paper in the future. No, it's not because of that. You can either increase revenue or you can decrease costs. Buyouts, like what YouTube is doing, especially if they're not then rehiring, it looks like it's a greater cost on paper in the short term, but in the long term it will save you. That's actually a healthier way to deal with bloat. I mean, we will see what happens, because it's still, there could be other reasons going on. I could be completely wrong. These are just my thoughts, my opinions, my theories on it. But yeah, it's neither of those things, I think, need be as catastrophic as people are hyping it up to be. But they both may be indications of things to come. With YouTube, it might be them actually getting their shit together and having things work better. Because I'm saying, there's been a feature for years, like coming up on a decade now, I've been wanting YouTube to have. And I'm pretty sure I've even, like when I've done the YouTube survey, creator survey stuff, I've said this. Never has happened. And that is a scheduling system. You should be able to say, I have a regular schedule. This is legitimately how it was for me with a different channel. Although it is also true here, but I had one channel where I had two schedules. One was a release every Monday and every Thursday. The other was every Wednesday. I should be able to tell it. And it was always releasing at noon. I should be able to tell it I have a schedule that's Monday and Thursday. These videos go on that schedule, and then it schedules Monday, Thursday, Monday, Thursday, Monday, Thursday, Monday, Thursday, always at noon. I shouldn't have to go in and select on the calendar where it is, especially when it doesn't even indicate when, what previous days had it there. And there were times where I accidentally had two videos come out on the same day because I just got the date wrong. I shouldn't. Why do I have to handle that all myself? After a decade, why can't it just be, nope, here it all is. You can just say, these are the schedules, these videos go on that schedule in this order, and then it populates. That is Granted, I've not actually done it, but I know that's something that is easily done by a computer, because a computer does know dates. So it'd be like this, and just say, hey, this is part of the Saturday streams. You have a schedule named that. It's like, okay, this is the next one. Then it goes on Saturday, in this case, November 1st at 1 p.m. Eastern Time. I instead have to go in and set that, and for a while, like on the forum post, why do I say at the usual time? Because at one point, it decided to change the time zone on me to UTC, and I could not figure out how to change it back. Because from what I could tell, there wasn't a way. Years later, I accidentally clicked on, just like misclicked on top of the time zone thing there, or just something there, and it popped up as like, I can change the time zone now. I had no idea. There's nothing about the UI suggestive that I can do that. And it's like, that should have been an option years ago, and also should have been obvious, but no. It's just... YouTube, I do not doubt, suffers from bloat. It is also, this is the point of why I was just going off like it was, it is a fairly stagnant platform as well. That it seems when they make changes to it, it is not to actually improve it. It is not to add features. It is not to enhance features. It is so that it is different. Okay, so like I've been noticing that they have a new UI there. It's like, why? What was wrong with the old one? Probably nothing. It's just a new style standard, which means there's... Can I criticize it as being truly negative? Probably not, because it's just style. But you spend how much time and money on that versus improving features? Like, as I was talking about, the scheduling stuff, which that's been coming up on a decade. Because that channel, I started in 2016, that I had that schedule on, the Monday, it was originally Monday, Thursday. I added the Wednesday schedule later. It's like, that would have been great then. And that's going to be 10 years old in... Would that actually be about 7 months? 8 months? Something like that. Because it started in May 2016. But yeah, I mean, it's like, we don't see that happening. And it's very annoying. There also should be, for scheduling like that, for a while, I would also go in and add every video onto a public Google Calendar schedule. Or Google Calendar, so people could see. No one looked. I mean, no one ever watched that channel, but it still is. Why is that a thing that I have to do manually? Because I mean, it's like, you absolutely have that calendar data. Why is there not a export to Google Calendar, or just generate a YouTube release Google Calendar that can be public and shared with everyone, or even just shared with only certain people? So, like, if you had multiple people on the same channel, and it's like, hey, I want this release on this day. It's like, oh, okay, then because of that reason, I won't do what I want to do. Then I'll do it somewhat. Instead of it having to be maintained separately. Why are they not doing that? That is a very obvious thing to do. So, yeah, I mean, if they cut out the bloat, that might also mean that they cut down the attention that's being given to other things like, oh, isn't this UI better looking? It's like, who cares? Where's the functionality? Maybe you'll get rid of the people that think the UI matters as much, more than it should, and it'll start attacking the function and the people who care more about the functionality, and also possibly the people that can't make the changes, get to be louder just because there's less noise, and then they start making a difference. They start actually improving it. That is one reason why bloat is as dangerous as it is a lot of times what is in the bloat, what constitutes the bloat itself, is noise. It's not beneficial. So yeah, hopefully it turns out that way. There's a lot of other things YouTube can do as well, but that also would be health of the platform. But I mean, maybe we'll see that. I don't think that it's a death of YouTube kind of situation. It doesn't have to be. Yeah. But Microsoft, they need to cut out the bloat as well, but I'm not sure if they're doing that. I don't know, and I could believe that, and this is the case for a lot of companies, this is also true for YouTube, I can believe that they don't have the people with the proper mindset and will to cut out the bloat either, which is disappointing. But it is a certain reality. So yeah, we'll see what happens. If I had to guess what most likely would happen, it would be this. Microsoft will continue to chug along. We will see Xboxes, but the difference between the Xbox and the PlayStation will diminish unless the games industry itself gets healthy again. If that gets healthy, you will see exclusives return. You will see Xbox and PlayStation be at war again. That will happen. But that's dependent on the games industry. Not on Microsoft, not on Sony, the games industry. And as far as YouTube, most likely they will reduce their workforce by a percentage. It will not take out all the bloat. Things will not truly improve for the various creators except for those that they anoint. Because I mean, there are people that they make their living off of YouTube, and then there are people that make their livings for like a small town on YouTube, right? That they make that much money. Those people, they're going to be completely unimpacted. I mean, worse to say they diversify and go into other platforms as well, but they'll still be treated fine by YouTube. But then there are others where it's like, now they are still doing like a 9-to-5 day on YouTube because that's how much, and that's all the level of money they make. I don't know how they may be impacted or not. But it might be I do think that part of the bloat at YouTube has been concentrating into the top 0.01% of creators there, and just they've been shrinking that distribution down more and more and more and more. So it's just the fewer and fewer and fewer number of people getting it. Because it's one of those things, on paper, it looks good to support a Mr. Beast who gets so much attention. It looks good to support that because, hey, that's the guy everyone wants to go to. It's not healthy, though, in the long term, because he can't be always out there. He can't. He eventually his career will end. And also, when the audience changes, are they going to continue to go there, or will they go elsewhere? So it's diversification is necessary there, but bloat tends to, because it's just noise, it tends to focus on what appears to be the noisiest thing, as opposed to what is necessarily the best thing. Yeah. So yeah, I don't. I think YouTube, there's still great potential for it to become a healthier platform. This is potentially a step towards that. But it's hard to predict. It is very hard to predict. I think most likely, though, it'll, for the majority of users and for viewers and creators, it'll continue. No one will notice a change. Maybe ad revenue will further drop, which will suck. And force people who could have it be a career, wanted to be a career, instead forcing it to be a hobby. And that's not a good thing, especially for those who have already made it their careers. It being forced down to being a hobby means that they now need to get a different job, which that could be a huge change. Because, I mean, think about it. You can, with some of the, like, a YouTuber that is actually making money could potentially live anywhere they want. But if it's okay, you now need to get an actual 9-to-5 job because that's the only way you're going to make money, that might be you have to up and move. That what your skills are will get you a job at a company that requires you be somewhere else. And that's not really great. That's not a great situation. Don't get me wrong. That happens to a lot of people. That's not exclusive to YouTube. All right, that can happen anytime. It's like the factory shut down. You now need to move to another town to find the other factory. It's like that absolutely does happen in general, but that's kind of sort of what might be happening with some of the ad revenue stuff. So, yeah. I guess I'll just add this, that even though YouTube isn't necessarily an employer for those creators, you are dependent. Such creators are dependent on YouTube. And there isn't a formal contract there, at least not to my knowledge, a formal contract that would see them acting well or to provide any support or protection to you. Which means then that they are free to be tyrannical with your life. Probably a good idea to keep it as much a hobby as possible, or make sure you diversify how you make money. So having other ways that people can support you than just watching and ad revenue. Besides that, where people can actually say, "Hey, I'm going to pay you." Like whether it's Patreon, and I know there's others that I can't think of the name of, or maybe have something like a Substack or whatever, where it's you pair your videos with written content, and then you can get subscribers there, something like that. So you're not dependent just on YouTube. It would also be try to get sponsorships, I guess, would be another way. So that way it is, and make sure that's a healthy relationship you have with the sponsors, so that even if it is hey, your numbers went down, yeah, YouTube is messing with how they are reporting this stuff. Are you sure? It's like, yeah, I can, when I talk to other people, they see the same thing, and say, we can look at that. Maybe show them and be like, oh, okay, so we don't need to worry, we're not going to cut your sponsorship then, because, yeah, it does look like YouTube is just being YouTube. It's like, yeah, and it's like, try to do stuff like that. It's the way you'd have to continue, which technically is what you should be doing anyway. But yeah, it's just a weird thing overall, and only time will tell how it'll work out. All right. See you next time.